some progressive elements believe that this is not the age for corruption. People who go into public life must be prepared to serve for the glory of service.
Welcome once again to another episode with the boys.
Yes.
We're just going to jump straight into today's video. We're going to continue from exactly where we stopped, just like I said, to be continued. We're going to continue. So, my bro, Raz, one of the questions I have here is, how did the 1966 coup lead to the Biafra War?
After the first coup, the January 15 coup that happened, 66 coup, January 15, 1966, those two coups that happened in 1966.
Okay.
After the first coup, took the life of Amadou Bello, took the life of that Amadou Bello, Southern of Sokoto, Tafawa Balewa, the prime minister, and prominent northern leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even the premier of the West, Akintola. So after the coup happened, Nigeria so-called termed it an Igbo coup.
Oh.
They made it look like it was an Igbo coup because the coup succeeded in the north, it succeeded in the west, but it did not succeed in the east.
In the east. And I also...
So they were suspicious about it, like, why will you kill the guys in the north and the guys in the south, but sorry, in the west, but you didn't kill your people in the east, right?
I mean, come on. You're not playing with fucking dogs.
So to them,
it looked like
an Igbo coup, yeah. It looked like an Igbo coup.
If you are not Igbo, wouldn't you think the same thing?
Yeah, I would think it was an Igbo coup, right?
Exactly. Right.
So this thing is what I understand is the Igbos were the army men that carried out the coup.
The men that carried out the coup
in the north, right?
Yeah, most of them were
Igbo soldiers.
Igbo soldiers.
Okay,
but the problem there is that most of these men were Igbo soldiers that
wanted to kill northern leaders.
No, they were Igbo soldiers that could speak Hausa fluently.
Okay,
you understand?
Right.
So they were more like northern inclined. Most of them, like Zogu, was in Kaduna. He speaks more Hausa than he speaks Igbo, right? Yeah, so it was easy to convince the soldiers. Yeah. And the soldiers that did it were northern soldiers. The foot soldiers that shot that were northern soldiers. They were just Igbo commanders leading northern men to go kill a fellow northerner. You understand?
So like typically, it wasn't really...
Yeah, it was the people that actually shot the gun. They are not majority the Igbos, but the people that led the coup, Igbo soldiers, yes. Okay. And the people that died, they are northerners.
And Yoruba leaders.
Some Yoruba leaders, and maybe one Igbo guy died too.
Who?
Ugegbe was a Lieutenant Colonel Ugegbe, so he was in charge of he didn't want to join the coup or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he was instrumental. He was instrumental in controlling the armories where they put the guns and everything. And so they were suspecting that if they let him go, he will go to the armories and like share guns to the soldiers and mobilize them to disrupt the coup. So they killed him. But that was where we knew that it was not truly, it was ethnic cleansing. They won't kill him.
Right.
They would have arrested him.
Yeah.
There's nothing they could do then because they killed him in front of his wife. Right? So they would have arrested him. And he's Igbo too.
They killed him
in front of his wife.
Those Igbo men
killed him. And we are not even sure, they might even be speaking Igbo when they even shot him.
Wow.
You understand? It might be an argument or altercation. They could have arrested him, right? But they killed him. So to show you that those men were young, radical men within the ages of 28 to 35 that were willing to take away anything in front of them. Because before the coup, when they were going for the coup, they actually had this notion of what do we do to anybody that tries to resist? Then they made a very wrong decision, which I see as a wrong decision. They gave the discretion at the officer's hand. Like if you go there and anything where you see, the thing big pass you, or more killer. You understand? So they actually made a mistake. Like to me, it was a wrong decision to leave the elimination of officers at the discretion of the elimination of top rank officers at the discretion of the young officers leading the coup. For example, now they didn't know what to do with. They were like Aguiyi-Ironsi was meant to be killed. Brigadier Marami was meant to be killed. Ademeluga was meant to be killed. A lot of men, prominently Akintola was meant to be killed. Zeke was meant to be killed. Michael Okpara was meant to be killed. Tafawa Balewa was meant to be killed. Tafawa Balewa it was rumored that he was not meant to be killed. He was meant to be arrested. But Amadou Bello was meant to be killed. All these men were meant to be killed, right? But they didn't know, like there were a lot of names. There was arguments on who to spare and who to kill. So they just decided that if the people cooperate, no need to kill them. Anybody will try to be stubborn, they can be win. That was what happened. After the coup, Aguiyi-Ironsi kind of subdued the coup, arrested those boys, but he didn't persecute them. So the northerners were angry. They were very angry that he didn't persecute them.
Right. Wait, was Aguiyi-Ironsi Igbo too?
It was Igbo. So you see?
Like, bro, me self, just hearing it, self, like if I was not Igbo too, I would feel like.
But Aguiyi-Ironsi was the most superior military officer in the whole Nigeria.
Oh.
So it was him that was going to die, obviously. And they didn't kill him because it was rumored that when he was coming, when he heard that the coup was going on, he was driving. The boys at the checkpoint that was meant to kill him, when they saw his car, he stepped out of the vehicle. He shouted at them and told them to remove that roadblock. Those girls were so scared. He's the supreme commander. He was so scared. Aguiyi-Ironsi was like a god in the military. You could not come close to him. He was the supreme commander. He led the UN peacekeeping forces in Congo. He led them there. He led the whole United Nations army, all the whole country coming together, right? He was the one that led the army.
And I heard that Nigerian army was like one of
even minus the Nigerian army then, but even minus the Nigerian army, like he led the whole army. So he was like a leader then. And he was also the leader of the Nigerian military. So there's every fear a young soldier seeing the supreme commander, even though you gave me order to kill him, like, para go hold me now. You para go hold you. Somehow you go fear. And there was a rumor that bullets couldn't touch him because of that Aguiyi was always holding. So they were suspecting, because in the Congo war, when they are shooting, when they are going to war, when they are fighting, he's giving instructions and giving order without bending down. So bullets are flying and bullets are not hitting him. So that was where he developed that cult hero during the war, during the Congo war. So these soldiers were already scared of him. So when he was coming, he saw them. He told them to take off that checkpoint and he moved ahead. That was the biggest mistake because they would have killed him there. If they had killed him, it would have been better. Not it would have been better that he died, but it would have made coup plotters would have made it not look like an Igbo coup.
Right.
And no strong military officer would take over.
Right.
So it will now go down to maybe one of the young military officers. Because those top military officers were the problem. They felt that they were romancing with the politicians too much, that they had to take them away.
They were taking
so they had to take them away. So Aguiyi-Ironsi was not killed. He was able to suppress the coup. He was able to instruct Gowon. Gowon went to the east, suppressed the coup there, and he was able to get everything under control. He met with the Senate and he told them that in order for peace to be, they have to hand over power to him. So they handed over power to him and he took over. When he took over, then he now did not prosecute those coup plotters. He arrested them, convinced Zogu to come back, even though Zogu resisted. No, Zogu didn't run away. Pajuna was the one that ran away.
Outside Nigeria.
He ran outside Nigeria, went to Ghana also. When Zogu resisted Aguiyi-Ironsi for like 5 days or 6 days.
With his own army.
He was controlling the north now. So he was controlling an Igbo man. If he was actually an Igbo man, he controlled the north, declared a martial law in the north. Nobody comes at 6 to 6 curfew. He did it. Aguiyi-Ironsi, commanding officer, supreme commander, was only commanding Lagos and down and the south. Zog was commanding the north. Zog was already getting ready for civil war. He was getting ready to attack Lagos and complete the coup and take over there. But Igbo elders came in. They started trying to negotiate. They now sent his very good friend, Biafran War, to come and convince him. So Zog now gave Ironsi terms and conditions. Release them. If he comes back, gave him a lot of terms and conditions. Ironsi agreed to everything immediately. So Zog now handed over power to Major Castina in the north. They gave him a farewell.
Castina?
Yeah, Major Castina in northern in the north. Handed over power to him, had everything. They gave him farewell. The northerners even, those soldiers were loyal to him. Those Mutala guys, all those guys were loyal to Zog then. They were very loyal to him. They were even like gingering, like, why don't they just go and take over Lagos, right? So Zog told them, no, that since this guy agreed to their demand, let him respect him. He's his boss, right? So he traveled to Lagos. As soon as he arrived in Lagos, they arrested him. You see, they arrested. So
he was betrayed.
He was betrayed. So to me, in as much as they were saying it was an Igbo coup, the northerners that were loyal to Zog were the ones that carried out the counter coup of 1966. You understand?
It was the northerners that
they were loyal to Zogu. They actually carried out that coup. So if they carried out that coup because they were angry that Zogu killed their own people and did not kill the Igbos, why was it the same people that were loyal to him? Why was those same people were the ones to carry out that same coup? Because they were angry with Ironsi. You understand? All his friends, all his colleagues have died. Ademelugu have died. Ademelugu that he was controlling. There were two brigades in Nigeria. The Northern Brigade and Southern Brigade. Ademelugu, or I don't know if I'm getting the pronunciation right. He was commanding the northern part of Nigeria. Then Mai Malami was commanding the southern part of Nigeria. So these two men were killed. Then Aguiyi-Ironsi the supreme commander was still alive. So they were already angry. The young soldiers were already angry. Our two champions, because these were the people that contested that supreme commander role with Aguiyi-Ironsi. It was these three men that contested. They now ended up promoting Aguiyi-Ironsi to major general, made them brigadier, right? So he now killed the brigadier, then only him now stood up. And when Zogu now went back, they now arrested Zogu. So now they now felt it that maybe you arrested him because he was an Igbo guy, but he grew up in the north. So that's why, so them too are now like also, and even at that, these guys killed everybody in the north. They didn't kill everybody in the east. So to them, it was like, no, it doesn't make sense. It was planned. And those that died, they're easy to fuel that conspiracy and make everybody feel that way. So in that process, the masses, military men, they started killing Igbos. And also, Igbos too were not really that, after the thing happened, they kind of were a little bit braggant of how a whole Ahmadu Bello was killed. That kind of thing. They made mockery of things like that. So it kind of irritated the north too. You get. So when they started killing Igbo military personnel, started attacking them. Like, before you know, they went to the airport, taking Igbo people in the airport, Igbo officers, everybody were Igbo, started killing them. Just like that. They started massacre, serious massacre in the north. Just like that, too. Like play. First of all, the thing just started now I wasn't at Abeokuta barracks. The guy was just one guy, like one major, he had an altercation with one Igbo, his superior was an Igbo man. He was giving my instruction. He kind of was stubborn. Next thing, he opened fire on the Igbo man and killed him. Then that was how they started killing every Igbo officers in the north. Then Ojukwu now called everybody and told everybody that everybody should just come back to the southeast. All the old Igbos outside Nigeria that have been killing, everybody should return back home.
Southeast.
Everybody should return back. So everybody returned back home with that anger, that vex and everything. The Igbo elders instructed Ojukwu, instigated him that they don't want to be together, because we went to Aburi to have like a sit down, like a discussion, right? To know if we could sue him for peace or something like that. We made a proposal. Everybody agreed. Gowon agreed. Ojukwu agreed. They came to Nigeria. Gowon went on the agreement. You understand? Against what they agreed. So Ojukwu was like, you know what? We're not taking any other thing except what we agreed in Aburi. So Gowon got angry. He now divided Nigeria into 12 states. So he now gave those minorities their own states. So that's why he now divided Ojukwu's power. Yeah, Ojukwu was like, you know what? This is the height of it. So they now declared the Republic of Biafra, which eventually led to the civil war that we had.
Well, that was a lot to unpack. I had a few questions, but it seemed like you just wanted to unload everything all at once, man.
As the spirit leads,
So from what you're saying, it seems like there was something that instigated that made the coup plot a coup, right? There was something that was not going on right. Right? People won't just start plotting coup.
Everything was okay, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From my research as well, apparently, the first election as a democratic nation in this country, in Nigeria, was fought. It was fraudulent. That was basically the genesis of the type of elections that we have today. So basically, I'm taking it that election happened, and let's say these coup plotters were feeling exactly how we felt when this previous election happened.
Yeah.
Right?
So they struck.
I feel like it's fair to say that that's what happened.
Yeah, actually, that was actually what happened, because, they had three parties in Nigeria. Then they had the MPC, Northern People's Congress. Then they had the AG Action Group. Then they had the NCNC. You understand? So that one, NCNC controlled the southeast. Northern People's Congress controlled the north. AG controlled the west. So Awolowo was in AG, was the leader of AG. So he was already the premier from like 1954 to like 1960 of Western region. Okay. So that was the premier of Western region. Just as we have Web Kanu now is the premier of Manitoba. When the election happened, NCNC in the east merged with MPC in the north, and they formed the leading party. So Tafawa Balewa was prime minister, Zik was governor general. And then after governor general, Zik became president, right? So now Awolowo now became opposition because he lost out, right? So he went to Lagos to become opposition leader in the house, just the same way we're practicing a parliamentary system of government, right? He went to Lagos to become opposition leader. He now made Akintola his second, the premier of Western region. But they now had issues on how Western region should be governed. You understand? Awolowo had issues in 1962 on how Western region should be governed. So they have issues with Akintola. Akintola was like, you know what, nigga, nah, bro, we don't need to be opposition. Why don't we just merge with the north? Why are we being opposition? You know, that was what Akintola was saying. Then Awolowo was like, no, we're not merging with these guys. Like, we have a structure, we have a way we're doing our thing. So, and these guys were more of like a social democratic kind of ideology Awolowo had.
Right.
While Akintola was more of a conservative kind of ideology. They started having issues. So Awolowo was now taking it like Akintola is trying to challenge him. Someone he brought into the party, tried to challenge him and take over his party. So the party voted a vote of no confidence for Akintola. So on the day they did it in the night, and the next day we are now going to the Western Assembly to now actually make it law to depose him as the premier. When they went there, him and some of his colleagues, supporters, started dancing all this warrior kind of dance, because Akintola was the Are One Okakanfo of Yoruba land, like the warrior. Like if Are One Okakanfo is like the warrior, the person that leads Yoruba warriors to war. If they lose, he kills himself, something like that. They don't lose the war. Like Are One Okakanfo does not stay in the same city with the Alafin. He stays in a border town, because two people cannot have the same power together. He's the charge of the army. He could just overthrow the Alafin if he wants. So he stays in a different place. He was like the 8 years Are One Okakanfo Yoruba land. So they started dancing all those. They were doing weird dances, like play. One of them took the maize. Same thing we see now that Chidi Lloyd did in Rivers now. Yeah. The guy took the maize to hit the speaker of the assembly. As he did it, the guy dodged, so the team broke there. So federal police came and made everything okay, arrested them, threw them away and all. Then they declared the state of emergency in the West. So as they declared the state of emergency in the West, they made one guy like that the regional premier that time, and they moved Akintola. After a while, they accused Awolowo in 1963 of treason. Him, Anthony Nahuru, and all those guys of trying to overthrow the government and all those things. So as they accused,
they tried to do it, or it was
no, they were just the MPC was really trying to remove Awolowo, because Awolowo does not want to merge with them, so they wanted to fuck him up already. So just fucked him up, accused him of trying to overthrow the government. So as they accused him,
Nigeria has never been good.
You understand why I just start from the back? Because we keep talking about today, problem. But a lot of people today don't know where the problem
started from.
You gotta find out where the problem started from. So that everybody today will have an understanding, so that we can make our own decisions.
You see, if
of today, not following what our fathers told us.
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Okay, fine. We've heard what from your own side, right? As our parents, we know the emotions that have come with the information you've had, right?
Yeah.
So now, let us do our own research, right? And find out from everybody's basically point of view. That's why I want to have like Yoruba people and Hausa people on discussions with the boys, man. I swear.
I was just trying to show you, like, if you see in this Alexander Madiebubu, you see where you're speaking about the coup, you see that in that process where there was that state of emergency in the West, and they arrested Awolowo. They didn't arrest Akintola. And even Zik tried to the then Governor General of the Federation, tried to reconcile him and Akintola. It didn't even work out. Akintola and Awolowo, it didn't work out before this basic come happen. So even as they try to reconcile both of them, two of them they know they see eyeball to eyeball. Then what it come pain and say, Prime Minister now, and Southern Sokoto, where they control them from the north, from Sokoto, they come make Akintola, put them back into power, arrest Awolowo, sentence Awolowo to 10 years in prison. And when they were sentencing during the court case, an intelligence officer was there. Who was that officer? Major Kaduna Nzo. He was already obsessed with Awolowo's ideologies.
Wait, this was all before
the coup. Zog was already there. Zog was there when they were sentencing Awolowo and all. So he was already a follower of Awolowo's teaching and everything. So he already had his kind of revolutionary spirit. The kind of spirit, Awolowo was a very, very revolutionary guy. You know, the kind of spirit he had, that's the kind of spirit Zog had. You get. Akintola formed a party, second party. They broke out of AG. Now formed a party. What was the name of that party again? He formed this party. Let me check the name of the party. NNDP. That's the name of the party he formed. And they now formed an alliance with the North, and they had to form NNA. So you understand? Then Zik, that was already formed alliance with the North, now formed alliance with AG. Awolowo in prison. So they came together. So they now formed a party called UPGA. So after they formed that party, they now contested the election. The Southeast boycotted the election. Automatically, nobody's going. You know, Igbo's the way. If you want to follow something, we follow it to the end. Right? So there was no contest in the Southeast. Even though everyone was, they didn't even do an election set, because they didn't even vote. They boycotted it because of mass rigging that was going on around the city, around the country. But in the West, this Akintola, the kind of reading where those guys read, Akintola was even saying whether you vote or you no vote, you go win. In fact, it was that bad that people still they vote. They don't announce for radio results. They don't call results for it. So it was open robbery, and he won it. So what do you expect those soldiers that had that ideology? What do you think they were going to do? Think they are going to sit down and just laugh? Think they are going to go to there and go and chill? These guys were revolutionaries.
Exactly.
You understand?
Which is exactly.
And this was what led to. So in January 15, 1966, this man struck. The sole aim was to now kill and remove all these men, remove Akintola and all these men, and bring out Awolowo from prison and keep him there where he rightfully belongs. And if Awolowo becomes the president, automatically Zik already formed an alliance with them. If you are lenient enough for Zik, because Zik was marked to be killed, but if they were lenient enough for Zik would have flown him, because he went on a compulsory mandatory medical leave
Yeah,
when the coup
apparently,
happened.
I heard that compulsory
medical leave.
That's also part of why
They think that it happened. But he left 1 month before the coup. So as he left, so if Awolowo had taken power, maybe he could have come back and they would have merged. You understand? And continued the system. But they wanted to make him a provincial president, meaning that they won't even have prime minister, governor general. So Zik won't even have a power. So it was Awolowo they wanted to install them. But everything casted. You understand? That was what happened, bro. So that was the mistake. The thing was that the men that had the mind to do it were Igbo. It was not an Igbo coup. Yeah. The men that had the mind to do it were Igbos. You understand?
They had the mind to be responsible.
Yeah, for response, we are Igbo. And the men,
so they were all young.
Young, yeah, 28 to 35. 28 to 35.
Think about it. All these,
but they had a Yoruba guy there too in their midst.
Think about it, bro. All these people were 27 to 32 max when all these things were happening, bro.
Can you imagine, man?
Holy shit. Mohammed Buhari. How many times, bro? How old was he when he first came in power?
Who was that? Buhari? I can't even remember, but it was young.
But he was very young.
Bro, he was like 30 something.
Yeah, he came back for
he was like 30 something.
That had been 30 something.
The guys that were 20 something were the put them go on them. Those ones were the young.
Do you understand how young these guys were?
Those ones were the young. Ademulegun, yeah, Brigadier Ademulegun. They killed him they killed him in front of his wife. Or killed him and his wife or something like that. Him and his pregnant wife. I want to shot him because he said he was reaching for a gun. He came to his house and told him that you're under arrest and all that. I mean, they will say, what the bloody hell are you doing in my house? He just won't go reach and draw while they shoot him wife. Him and his wife. But straight up, those men were ruthless, man. Those men were angry. You don't see the story where I tell you how the thing happen. They do election, tell you say whether you vote or you no vote, you go do what you want. Those men were brutal. They were angry.
Yeah.
So if you notice, they didn't attack the middle belt. They didn't attack south. Their focus was west, where that may say they happen. And the north, where they support that west, where that thing they happen. You understand? That was it. And it's so funny you call it an Igbo coup when Ojukwu and the rest followed to help to foil the coup in the north. Ojukwu refused to release his battalion to support himself because Ojukwu was already controlling the battalion in Kano. So you see?
And they say that
it was an Igbo coup.
Even still knowing all this.
And that's why in IBB's book, he came out to debunk it. You understand? It looks like an Igbo coup, but it was not an Igbo coup. It was just that these were the men that had the mind at that time.
They were not just the ones in power. They were the ones that also had the kind of vets that we have right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They were the ones in the position that we were then. Now, you know what I mean? They were the ones. Imagine being in the position that we were when we saw this rigging happening in 2024 and having to do something about it. I don't think I would have, personally, I don't think I would have reacted any less. And I don't think those gentlemen would have, let's say that we meet them in heaven, right? And ask them, oh, what's up? Would you have done this thing again? I feel like they would have.
Yeah, at the situation at that particular time, they would have done it again. Again and again.
Because of, and from my point of view, right, the Nigerian government as of then, right, let us now say all these guys were bad and all this thing, right? In my mind, I'm like, bro, these guys did not have the mindset if it wasn't put up on them, right? Like, how do I put it? Like, the people that gave them power to and told them that this is possible. Like, I feel like they were exposed
too much.
Yeah, they were well traveled.
Those guys,
they were well traveled.
Most of them studied like UK.
Most of them, that in Nigeria, I mean, they travel go outside.
If
Arjuna won Commonwealth gold medal in Vancouver here now, Canada.
Wow, then back then,
he won it in Vancouver. So they were exposed. They were rich kids. So most of them were. If Arjuna's father was a medical doctor to Ojuku's family.
Wow.
And Ojuku's family were very wealthy people. They were already they were exposed, you understand? They were educated. And if Arjuna always read the rebellion, even when he was in university, he went to the university too. Most of these men didn't even finish standard C's.
So Arjuna went to university.
He caused problem in that caused war with SUG, you started fighting, had a riot in school. If Arjuna was just too much, man. He was rebellious by nature.
Character.
Ojuku knew him from his childhood now. That's why when he tried to overthrow Ojuku killed him.
So if those guys were well educated and were basically seeing the things that the Europeans were doing, these are the same people that were doing slave trade just a few years back. Also, were doing basically under the British government for a long period of time. How many years were we under the government? Just like
long ago, it reached like 100 years or so.
No, Britain. No. You reach 100 years?
They conquer Nigeria part by part now. They don't just conquer Nigeria fully. They conquer Lagos. After they conquer Lagos, they conquer Oyo Empire, conquer North, now Igbo land, the last place where they conquer.
I even heard that the British people even liked some parts of Nigeria or the nation that they called Nigeria today more than some other parts.
Yeah, because they liked the north more than the south. Because in the north, they didn't need to do much. After they just conquered the Sultan and conquered the Sokoto Caliphate, everybody just paid allegiance to the Britain. So Britain did not need to do more. They just tell the Sultan what to do. Sultan will go and tell them what to happen.
Who wouldn't like that?
Yeah. But in Igbo land, there was no king. So everybody was like, it is a republican system. We had council of elders. So you cannot just put one person. And they were now we had to create warrant chiefs that didn't have title.
That's the reason why it took so long for them to conquer
Igbo land, yeah. Because if you conquer this part are rebellion. Like, after you conquer this part will tell you, there are people you conquer, we never conquer us. That was why the British guys were more comfortable to have handover power to the northerners, because the northerners were more loyal to them than the southerners.
Somewhere like, what's it called? What part is that?
Southern Nigeria, yeah.
Is that like, what population?
South now, that is Efik.
Yeah, Efik people. Right?
Yeah. Close to Igbo land. South now. Close to Igbo land. Niger, that all those places now. But
what I'm trying to say is, there are some parts.
The part of what you're saying development is that the North has been ruling. So it's normal that they will have more development than us. You understand? The North have been ruling. Imagine if an Anambra man was the president of Nigeria. How is Anambra going to look like? Right. Or someone from Abia State is the president. We're even saying that the northern president that we had did not even do enough for the North, because they've been in power for a very long time. So building roads is nothing. They're not supposed to be the main hub. It's supposed to be that the southerners will always be trooping to the north, to go live in the north. Yeah, because that's where good life is so developed. Yeah. But the reverse is the case. The northerners have been ruling for a very long time. So that's what I'm trying to make them understand. It's no longer a north or southern thing. It's like these people are selfish. These leaders are so selfish.
That's exactly what
you understand.
We keep going back to these people are, but we don't want to discuss about the psychology behind their decision.
What is the psychology behind their decision?
Bro, these people had influence. They thought, fine, the people that were retaliating, the reason why is because of what these people are doing.
No. After retaliating, did the northerners kill your people? Why don't you develop the north? That's the question. Okay, make me understand.
Travel. Yeah, in their head, Nigeria is a piece of meat, of land, of a property.
So you are saying the same thing now. Exactly. You're saying the same thing.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. It's a psychology thing. It's a mentality thing, right? These people now, they're in their head. The whole of Nigeria are dumb. Nigerians are dumb, basically. That's what these people are saying in their head. Moving power from power to, do you understand?
Yeah, but
only what they are doing, I don't know how to explain what
that's the same thing you're saying. That you're saying that those people that's the bad governance we're talking about.
Exactly.
That's the bad governance. I'm not trying to make you understand that no matter the psychology that is involved, you cannot be a president of a particular place and you deprive your people of something. You try to tell me that maybe it's the way you are thinking or the way you see things. No, it's wrong.
Bro, I'm not getting my point across. Person went travel. Now, in travel abroad, right? Go see what they go see how good life, right? Come back night. He do everything in his power. His fellow Nigerians.
So you arrive.
Yes, or like to be better than his fellow others.
Listen, have you been to South Africa before?
I can't explain it.
Oh, no way. You've never been to South Africa before? So me, you know what I'm saying? You get out of here right now. What?
Instead of wanting to bring that in for every other person to experience and enjoy.
He wants it to be for himself.
They want it to hold it for just them.
Because if they give it to you, then they no longer have the power to control you.
Exactly.
You understand? So that's what I'm saying, that those northern leaders that have ruled Nigeria, they did what they did so that they can consolidate power. Not because they care for the north, the south, the east, or the west.
Yes.
The same thing with some of the eastern leaders we have. They are not doing it because they care about the Igbos or so. Those southeast leaders, we are doing it because of they want to consolidate power. You understand? And that is what has been going on in Nigeria. These politicians mess things up, purposely introduce poverty so that they can always control power.
Driving on
Nigerians.
Pointing on each other's fingers. Saying, is this people?
And they now use tribalism as a tool.
Yes.
They use it to divide us. So you can't even come together to fight them.
You
want to fight, like, don't you see what happened in the election?
It's a beautiful thing. I love the diversity. You know what I mean? I want to see Yoruba people do their Yoruba things, right?
The diversity makes it interesting.
That's not my stuff. You know what I mean? But these people are doing it. You know what I mean? It's fun to see. Very fantastic. We turn that beauty to
something course now.
a little Coups.
For real.
And people are thriving on it.
For real.
Doesn't make
You know what I
sense.
mean?
Yo,
Doesn't
the
make
beauty
sense.
of Nigeria is this
It's the diversity, different culture.
You know what it
Yeah.
means, bro? It's so interesting.
At this
This
point,
person now Yoruba, this person now Hausa, this person-
You're gonna see new
it-
things,
it-
new
you-
food,
Oh
new
my
food, new
God.
lifestyle, new things. You watch
Everybody
movies, you're gonna see histories of different kingdoms. Like everything is under in Nigeria.
yes.
That is the but they go use tribalism,
Bro,
scatter the whole
If
thing.
only if
What we need to figure out now in today's Nigeria. This our podcast is for today's Nigerians, not for these bastards that are in power now. It's for us who will be in power.
and that's if
Because they will die.
na so.
It is our age mates that will be there.
Bro, these people have been in our leaders since. These people are not dying
Bro,
anywhere.
maybe 1,000 years.
No, the
But
next
they
guys,
will-
other guys.
Their kids and everything are grooming them
Their
already,
kids.
man.
Those are the people we are talking to right now. Do you understand? We're
We're
no more talking about the people that we're not more trying to convince. I'm not even trying to convince my pops that Nigeria will be good.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
I don't even know what he thinks. He may think that Nigeria is condemned. You know what I mean? It's never
Yeah.
better. It will just keep sinking. Me now,
You're
I'm still
seeing
young.
the future.
I have to hope, right?
the same hope, but then
I'm
some hope
sorry.
kill us.
So,
I'm sorry for Nigeria.
My
I'm
G.
sorry.
so
If
if we
not
can all figure out what's happened before and correct that mistake
from happening again,
from happening again, because if we don't,
it will go a long way.
it will
It won't happen
again and again and again.